The UNA Volleyball program welcomes in Alabama as part of the UNA Volleyball Classic on September 14th inside of CB&S Bank Arena. Of course, last season, North Alabama downed the Tide down in Tuscaloosa, a clean 3-0 sweep, marking UNA's first win over the Tide since 1975. That 1975 team defeated Alabama twice, once inside of Flowers Hall and once to win the AIAW State Championship. We had a chance to sit down with the head coach of that 1975 team, Don McBrayer, star player Andy Jones, both of them in the UNA Athletic Hall of Fame, and also head volleyball coach Tristan Johnson. We chatted about the Alabama wins and the excitement of the Tide coming to Florence once again for the UNA Volleyball Classic. Here's a look at our roundtable discussion. Coach Johnson, let's open up with you. Last year, you get the marquee win over Alabama. Now, fast forward September, the Tide come up here into your home gym. And from the perspective of your program, it's got to feel pretty good knowing an SEC program is willing to come up here to your gym to play your team.
Yeah, I mean, I think it says a lot about, obviously, the last 4 years for us as a volleyball program, but I think it also says a lot about the department and the university as a whole, right? I think the momentum that the entire university has, the department has moving forward. Men's basketball having so much success last year, winning a conference championship, tennis, golf. You know, I think the UNA brand getting more exposed is always great. And so I just think it makes it a venue that people want to come up and play in.
And, of course, we're hoping to sell it out. Visit RoarLions.com to get your tickets. And let's jump back to last year's game, a 3-0 sweep down in Tuscaloosa. When you look back at it now, just what's the memory?
A lot of excitement, a little bit of, I mean, just really, I can remember, I mean, backstory, obviously, I went to school at Alabama. I spent a lot of time in that gym as a student assistant and then as an assistant coach. And I can remember when it was over, just sitting on the bench and just looking around, and I got a little emotional, and I was just like, I just spent a lot of time here, you know? And so to be able to reflect in that moment, I really tried really hard. When it was over, I kept telling myself, just be in the moment, be in the moment, be in the moment. And so, you know, honestly, selfishly, that was the big piece, but I was really excited for the girls. I mean, you know, that was a huge moment for so many of those girls. You know, I really reflect on the girls that had been here throughout the transition that were able to experience that moment. I was really pumped for them, just for them to get to experience that moment. And all the players, I think it's huge for us culturally as a program to know what it feels like to win a big match against a great program and a great school with such a great brand. So selfishly, it was great, and I was really trying to soak it in. But then from a macro culture perspective, I was really happy for the girls. They fought hard. They had prepared. We were coming off a really tough weekend on our home tournament where we really hadn't performed overly well. And so I was excited to see how we turned the page there and then, you know, really establish something that I think was a pretty special moment for us in a lot of ways.
It was the first time UNA had defeated Alabama since 1975. Coach McBrayer, you were the head coach. Andy Jones, star player. And let's start with this for you two. Seeing UNA win down in Tuscaloosa, how much pride did that give you? Coach Mack, you want to go first?
Yeah, you want the short version or the middle? Well, I love telling this story, and I love telling it with Andy sitting right here because she was a big part of the story. You know, we were in regions back then. It was the AIAW, the Association for Intercollegiate Athletics for Women, and that's what we were. We were in the Northern Division, Alabama was in the Southern Division. And a lot of people didn't know this, and I don't know if Tristan knows it or not, but we beat Alabama twice. We beat them here in the regular season, and I had the flu, and I couldn't even be there. My assistant coach had to coach them through that game. And we beat them here. And so at the end of the season, we're 8-0, they're 7-1. Now that's significant, okay? That one was because we beat them, okay? At the end of the season, we're 8-0, they're 7-1. So we go down to Alabama to play the big tournament game, and we get there, and they had seeded Alabama first and us second. That did not sit very well with me and my Irish temper, and which nobody sees too often. And I knew all the people on that committee, and I went to them and I said, this is not right, you know. These kids had busted their butt to get where we were. And all of a sudden we get down there and it's all politics. Politics were so thick back then it made me sick. And to see our team treated that way, I didn't like it at all. But on the other hand, it was a pretty good thing because it fired them up. You know? And they had, the Tuscaloosa News had written this big article, I mean, proclaiming Alabama the winners before we ever even played the game, and la, 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 la. So I got the paper, and I took it back to the team that night, and I said, what do y'all think about this? And boy, they took it. I mean, they wrote all kind of stuff all over it. And so they were good to go. We was ready to go. So we get into the tournament, and we're just working our way through it. We get to the semifinals. And in the semifinals against Montevallo, this lady right here, she went up and hit a volleyball so hard that I really expected to see an exploded volleyball on the other side of the court. I mean, it sounded all over that gym. And when she came down, she went down. Well, I'm sitting there saying, come on, Andy, get up. Good grief. That's a great shot. Let's go. We got to finish this game up. Then I realized she's hurt. And so we had to get her up, and she had to go to the hospital. And what'd they do to your leg?
Well, I came back with a cylinder cast on my leg from mid-thigh to mid-calf. I had blown out my knee, and it was a ACL tear. And back in those days, they didn't exactly know what to do with the female that had done that. So, so I had the great pleasure of coming and sitting on the sideline to watch the finals where we played Alabama.
Yeah, well, that created a real coaching problem for me, because our whole offensive system was built around her, because she was a hitter on the front row, and when she went to the back row, she was a setter. And I mean, she played the whole game. If she wanted out, she'd beg out, because that's the only way I was going to take her out, you know. But so now, this is the night before the big tournament. I got to figure out, what do I do now? Because that whole system was built around what she did. And I came up with something. I don't even know what it was now. And so we get back, we started. First game, Alabama beats us 15-1. Well, they came off the court, and I was about to give them the greatest sports talk and pump talk in the history of volleyball. And one of the players, Becky Daniels, she said, Coach, just a minute. She said, all we want you to do is go over there and sit down and watch what's about to happen. I said, I can do that, you know. So I went over and sat down, and I watched what happened. After we got through that first game of just making all the adjustments we had to make, then they started the second game and beat them, 15-12, I think it was, and then the third game we beat them 15-6. And won the tournament. That was a biggie.
Won the AIAW state championship. You guys finished that year 24-8. And Andy, this team had played together for a while, right? Even going back to high school.
We had been blessed to be at Bradshaw High School, where Nuna Kennard, who is famous in the state of Alabama, and what she did for girls sports at that time was just incredible. And she taught us the right way, taught us the skills, and I was fortunate to be a part of the first state championship volleyball team in high school. My senior year, we won at Bradshaw, and then like Mr. Mack said, it kind of changed every year between Bradshaw and McGill-Tulane. We'd sort of swap back and forth, but she went on to coach, I don't even know how many state championship teams, but most of the girls on that team here at UNA had played for Nuna Kennard, and so we felt like, you know, we could take on anybody and be successful. And with Coach McBrayer's positivity, and I'm telling you, the man knew how to condition people. We were in great shape, and we could go as long as anybody. And so it turned into a really good combination of good players and the great job that he did with us.
But I warned them. First day, I warned them, because I knew Nuna was a great coach, the best. But she didn't do a whole lot with conditioning. And I had gone with them. We used to have to go in cars, and I had driven the cars down, you know, and I'd seen them play. And
yeah, because she had coached us the year before.
Yeah.
In my junior year.
Yeah, and so I knew the only reason they wasn't winning down there is because they were just kind of, you know, losing at the end. And so I told them, I said, now, y'all know much more volleyball than I do, and they did. I mean, like she said, they were all played 4 years of winning state championships. I said, but I know a little bit more about conditioning than y'all do, and you're not going to like it. And sure enough, they didn't, because after about the first 2 weeks, here comes about 2 or 3 of the players over to my office saying, Coach Mack, we had a meeting last night, and we decided that you were just too hard on us. I was making them run the back steps, and so part of it. I said, okay, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll back off, and I'll make it easy for you. But when we go down to Tuscaloosa this year and we lose again, I don't want anybody to say a word to me. I don't want to say a word, okay? And they didn't have to do that because they just kind of hopped out there and did it.
Now, an interesting perspective, UNA had not won a championship of any kind since 1963. So that championship in 1975 kind of set the tone for basketball to win the national championship in 79, football to win the first conference championship in 1980. So have you all thought about how that kind of springboarded UNA to some big momentum?
Well, I felt like that sort of set a tone for the program. A winning tradition, I think, got started at that time. And definitely carried over. I was fortunate enough to get to coach for a number of years, and that tradition, we were able to keep that going through the years. And, I think Coach Johnson is getting that rolling and keeping that rolling as well. And it's just, I'm always so proud to see the positivity, the success, the good things that are happening here at UNA.
And for you, Coach Johnson, hearing that support from 2 greats, 2 Hall of Famers, how does that make you feel about your program and the support you get?
I'm just wondering if Andy has any eligibility left after hearing about slamming that ball into the floor.
No pressure. Coach Max beat Alabama twice.
Hey, I'm telling you, I'm starting to wonder if I deserve to be at this table, man. But in all seriousness, I mean, and just to your point, all kidding aside, to have their support, I mean, is obviously monumental for me and stepping into the program. And that was, I mean, to be honest with you, that was one of the big pieces in what made UNA so attractive for me as the head volleyball coach, was the history of the program, right, and the department. I mean, you talked a lot about the football, basketball, and volleyball had a national championship in 2003, what the coaches had done, in that tenure. And so I knew we could win here. I knew we could win, and I knew we could win at a high level because it had been done before. And so I knew that it took the work that's required, to Coach Mack's point about, he knew what was needed to take that next step for the program in 1975, and I felt that I knew what we needed in 2025, or 2022 technically. But I think that was a big piece, and so to hear from the people that have lived it and been through it, to hear their confidence in me obviously makes me feel a lot better about things, because it you can't buy experience, right? And so to hear people that have experience being successful at a high level at UNA, to believe in what we're doing here and what these players are doing right now, really, it obviously gives us a lot of confidence and makes us feel really good.
Andy, 9 conference championships for you as a coach between volleyball and softball. Most of any coach that's ever coached at UNA, 6 of those coming with volleyball. You're still very involved with the program, doing the ESPN broadcast with us, and seeing the win over Alabama, the success, the excitement, Alabama coming back here. You've got to be pretty fired up for this.
I really am. I can't wait to be a part of that and to get to call it with you and to see it. But it does. It just thrills me to see how far it's come since those days and since my coaching days, just to see how far the program has come and where we are now, facilities and scholarships and coaching and all that sort of thing. It's just tremendous, and I just hope it keeps moving forward.
Coach McBrayer, you're at everything, at every event. You've got your seats down there. We know you're going to be there in September when Alabama comes to town. Why does everybody else need to come out and support?
One side light here, and I'll shut up. The first thing that was said to me when the girls came off the court, the first thing that was said to me was, "Let's go run the steps." They knew how they got there.
That's great. That's great. How fired up are you to have Alabama here and see this place packed out?
about like I used to be when Jacksonville came into this place. I'm pumped already. I can't wait on it.
We can't wait as well. Thank you all for chatting, taking us down memory lane, and we look forward to seeing everybody in the bank come September.